Okay, welcome to Get Ready for Calculus. Let's look at skill 4, add rational fractions and simplify. And we've already done the remember how. Here's the rest of the page. So we need a common denominator between x and 3x squared. The common denominator out of that hidden 1 and that 3 would be 3, and x squared is x squared. So basically each of the fractions get that new denominator. And so you ask yourself, well, what did this first fraction not have out of the new denominator? Well, it had a 1x, so it didn't have a 3 and another x. So since that's the new part added to the bottom, we have to also add that new part to the top. Not add it, but put it with the 5x, multiplying it. So the 5x also gets the new part. Think of it as a fashion decision. If you get a new bottom, you also get a new top. Now the negative 5 fraction had the complete common denominator already. It does not get a new bottom, so it does not get a new top. All right, let's simplify the top. That's 15x squared minus 5 over 3x squared. Now, really, that's done. I see I can pull a 5 out of the top. I can't pull any x's out of the top, so that's not going to cancel out with the bottom. We might pull a 5 out here just to make sure nothing else factors with the bottom, and it still doesn't whenever we do that. So either of those last two lines are good answers there. Okay, the common denominator between 4x and x squared would be a 4x squared. So we're going to write everything over 4x squared. The first fraction only had a 4x. It did not have the extra x to make it an x squared. So we're going to multiply that by another x. It got a new x on the bottom, so it gets a new x on the top. Now we want to be really, really careful with these subtract problems. And remember that we're going to subtract, but everything after this is going to be in a big parenthesis and be subtracted from that. Now that negative x squared plus 1, I'm going to put in a separate parenthesis because it gets a new bottom as well, a 4, because it only had a denominator of an x squared, not a 4x squared. All right, so let's clean this up. We'll do some distributive property on top. So we get negative 4x squared plus x. And then we'll do distributive property here, and I'm going to distribute that negative in at the same time. I'm just going to be crazy doing two things at once. 4x squared becomes positive because of two negatives there. And then 4 times 1 is 4, but then we bring that negative from the front end and make it negative 4. All over 4x squared. Let's see what can happen. Oh, I see that I have negative 4x squared and positive 4x squared cancel out. So we end up with x minus 4 over 4x squared, and that's the answer. All right, on top I have a rational fraction, some rational fractions to add together on top, and then we will divide by that 3x after that. The common denominator between 4 and 2x would be 4x. That first number 1 did not have the x part, and the second number 1 was missing another 2 because it only had 2x, and we want it to be 4x. So 1 times 2 is 2, all over 4x, all of that over 3x. All right, so now I can say x plus 2 over 4x times the reciprocal, 1 over 3x. That gets me x plus 2 over 12x squared. Nothing can factor out of the top, nothing can simplify, and we're done. One more. We have some quadratic denominators. We need to factor those first. So I'm going to say this becomes x plus 2 times x plus 1. The second fraction denominator becomes x plus 1 times x plus 1. And I'll write them separately so I can keep track of how many I have. All right, now my common denominator is the most number of times a factor happens in either fraction. I have 1x plus 2, but then I have x plus 1 happens twice in one of the fractions, so the common denominator gets 2. Now, let's new bottoms, so we get new tops. That original fraction 7 did not have one of the x plus 1s, so that 7 gets a new x plus 1. And that second fraction 4 did not have that x plus 2, so that 4 gets an x plus 2. So I'll distribute on top 7x plus 7 plus 4x plus 8 all over my common denominator. And then we're going to have some like terms to deal with on top. That'd be 11x plus 15. Nothing will factor out of that. Common denominator on bottom. It doesn't cancel out with any of my factor, my 11x plus 15 on top. So we are done. All right, let's finish with a ChatGPT generated math joke of the day. Tell me a math joke about, oh, let's just go with horses this time. Let's just go something kind of totally different and off. Here we go. Math joke about horses. Why was the horse bad at math? Because he always got saddled with long division. Okay, not one of the best ChatGPT math jokes, but we'll take it. All right, there you go. That's skill number 5. Go to Pythagorean.com if you need more resources. Good luck getting ready for calculus.